Namaste, Dhanavad Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 7, Text 13. Shirotadhav Amara Dhanavayutapanam Unmatnatam Amrita Labdhaya Adi Deva Prastena Kachapavapur Vidhara Gotram Nidrakshano Parvarta Kashana Kandu. The primeval Lord then assumed the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place or pivot for the Mandara mountain, which was acting like a churning rod. The demigods and demons were churning the ocean of milk within the Mandara mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of the Lord tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation. Purport. Although it is not in our experience, there is a milk ocean within this universe. Even the modern scientist accepts that there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of planets hovering over our heads. And each of them has different kinds of climatic conditions. Srimad Bhagavatam gives much information which may not tally with our present experience. But as far as Indian sages are concerned, knowledge is received from the Vedic literatures, and the authorities accept without any hesitation that we should look through the pages of authentic books of knowledge, Shastra Chakshurvat. So we cannot deny the existence of the ocean of milk, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, unless and until we have experimentally seen all the planets hovering in space. Since such an experiment is not possible, naturally we have to accept the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam as it is, because it is so accepted by spiritual leaders like Sridhar Swami, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, and others. The Vedic process is to follow in the footsteps of great authorities, and that is the only process for knowing that which is beyond our imagination. The primeval Lord, being all-powerful, can do whatever he likes, and therefore his assuming the incarnation of a tortoise or a fish for serving a particular purpose is not at all astonishing. Therefore, we should not have any hesitation whatsoever in accepting the statements of the authentic scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. The gigantic work of churning the milk ocean by the combined effort of the demigods and the demons required a gigantic resting ground or pivot for the gigantic Mandara hill. Thus, to help the attempt of the demigods, the primeval Lord assumed the incarnation of a gigantic tortoise swimming in the ocean of milk. At that time, the mountain scratched his backbone as he was partially sleeping, and thus revealed his itching sensation. Relieved his itching sensation. Text 14. Tripista Purubhaya Hasan Rishimha Rupam Kridva Brahmad Brukuti Damstra Karala Vaktram Daityendram Asu Gadhaya Vipatantam Arad Uro Nipatya Vidardhara Nakai Sfuruantam. The personality of Godhead assumed the incarnation of Nrsimhadev in order to vanquish the great fears of the demigods. He killed the king of demons, Hiranyakashipu, who challenged the Lord with a club in his hand. By placing the demon on his thighs and piercing him with his nails, rolling his eyebrows in anger, and showing his fearful teeth and mouth. Purport. The history of Hiranyakashipu and his great devotee son, Prahlad Maharaj, is narrated in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hiranyakashipu became very powerful by material achievements and thought himself to be immortal by the grace of Brahmaji. Brahmaji declined to award him the benediction of immortality because he himself is not an immortal being. But Hiranyakashipu derived Brahmaji's benediction in a roundabout way, almost equal to becoming an immortal being. Hiranyakashipu was sure that he would not be killed by any man or demigod or by any kind of known weapon, or would he die in day or night. The Lord, however, assumed the incarnation of half man, half lion, which was beyond the imagination of a materialistic demon like Hiranyakashipu. And thus, keeping pace with the benediction of Brahmaji, the Lord killed him. He killed him on his lap, so that he was killed neither on land, nor on water, nor in the sky. The demon was pierced by Nrsimha's nails, which were beyond the human weapons imaginable by Hiranyakashipu. The literal meaning of Hiranyakashipu is one who is after gold and soft bedding. The ultimate aim of all materialistic men. Such demoniac men who have no relationship with God gradually become puffed up by material acquisitions and begin to challenge the authority of the Supreme Lord and torture those who are devotees of the Lord. Prahlad Maharaj happened to be the son of Hiranyakashipu, and because the boy was a great devotee, his father tortured him to the best of his ability. In this extreme situation, the Lord assumed the incarnation of Nrsimhadev, and just to finish the enemy of the demigods, the Lord killed Hiranyakashipu in a manner beyond the demon's imagination. Materialistic plans of godless demons are always frustrated by the all-powerful Lord. Text 15. Antasharas yuru balena pade grihito rahena yuta patir ambuja hasta arta ahedam ari purusha kila lokanata tirta shravana mandala namadeya. The leader of the elephants, whose leg was attacked in a river by a crocodile of superior strength, was much aggrieved. Taking a lotus flower in his trunk, he addressed the Lord, saying, O original enjoyer, Lord of the universe, O deliverer, as famous as a place of pilgrimage. All are purified simply by hearing your holy name, which is worthy to be chanted. Purport. The history of delivering the leader of the elephants, whose leg was attacked in the river by the superior strength of a crocodile, is described in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Since the Lord is absolute knowledge, there is no difference between his holy name and the crocodile. There is no difference between his holy name and the personality of Godhead. The leader of the elephants was much distressed when he was attacked by the crocodile. Although the elephant is always stronger than the crocodile, the latter is stronger than the elephant when it is in the water. And because the elephant was a great devotee of the Lord in his previous birth, he was able to chant the holy name of the Lord by dint of his past good deeds. Every living entity is always distressed in this material world, because this place is such that every step one has to meet with some kind of distress. But one who is supported by his past good deeds engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.16. Those who are supported by impious acts cannot be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, even though they are distressed. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.15. The personality of Godhead, Hari, appeared at once on the back of his eternal bearer, Garuda, and delivered the elephant. The elephant was conscious of his relation with the Supreme Lord. He addressed the Lord as Adi Purusha, or the original enjoyer. Both the Lord and the living beings are conscious and are therefore enjoyers, but the Lord is the original enjoyer because he is the creator of everything. In a family, both the father and his sons are undoubtedly enjoyers, but the father is the original enjoyer, and the sons are subsequent enjoyers. A pure devotee knows well that everything in the universe is the property of the Lord, and that a living entity can enjoy a thing as ordained by the Lord. A living being cannot even touch a thing which is not allotted to him. This idea of the original enjoyer is explained very nicely in the Ishopanishad. One who knows this difference between the Lord and himself never accepts anything without first offering it to the Lord. The elephant addressed the Lord as Akila Lokanath, or the Lord of the universe, who is therefore the Lord of the elephant also. The elephant, being a pure devotee of the Lord, specifically deserved to be saved from the attack of the crocodile, and because it is a promise of the Lord, that his devotee will never be vanquished, it was quite befitting that the elephant called upon the Lord to protect him. And the merciful Lord also at once responded, "The Lord is the protector of everyone, but he is the first protector of one who acknowledges his superiority of the Lord, instead of being a falsely proud person who denies the superiority of the Lord, or to claim to be equal to him. He is ever superior. A pure devotee of the Lord knows this difference between the Lord and himself. Therefore, a pure devotee is given first preference because of his full dependence. Whereas the person who denies the existence of the Lord and declares himself the Lord is called an asura, and as such, he is given protection by the strength of limited power, subject to the sanction of the Lord. Since the Lord is superior to everyone, his perfection is also superior. No one can imagine it. The elephant addressed the Lord as Tirtha Shrava, or as famous as a place of pilgrimage. People go to places of pilgrimage in order to be delivered from the reactions of unknown sinful acts. But one can be freed from all sinful reactions simply by remembering his holy name. The Lord is therefore as good as the holy places of pilgrimage. One can be free from all sinful reactions after reaching a place of pilgrimage, but one can have the same benefit at home or at any place simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. For a pure devotee, there is no need to go to the holy place of pilgrimage. He can be delivered from all sinful acts simply by remembering the Lord in earnestness. A pure devotee of the Lord never commits any sinful acts, but because the whole world is full of the sinful atmosphere, even a devotee may commit a sin unconsciously, as a matter of course. One who commits sinful acts consciously cannot be worthy of being a devotee of the Lord, but a pure devotee who unconsciously does something sinful is certainly delivered by the Lord, because a pure devotee remembers the Lord always. The Lord's holy name is called Shravana Mangala. This means that one receives everything auspicious simply by hearing the Lord, the holy name of the Lord. In another place in Srimad Bhagavatam, his holy name is described as Punya Shravana Kirtana. It is a pious act simply to chant and hear all about the Lord. The Lord descends to this earth and acts like others in connection with the activities of the world, just to create subject matters for hearing about him. Otherwise, the Lord has nothing to do in this world, nor has he any obligation to do anything. He comes out of his own causeless mercy and acts as he desires. The Vedas and Puranas are full of descriptions of his different activities, so that people in general may naturally be eager to hear and read something about his activities. Generally, however, the modern fictions and novels of the world occupy a greater part of people's valuable time. Such literatures cannot do good to anyone. On the contrary, they agitate the young mind unnecessarily and increase the modes of passion and ignorance, leading to increasing bondage to the material conditions. The same aptitude for hearing and reading is better utilized in hearing and reading of the Lord's activities. This will give one all-around benefit. It is concluded, therefore, that the holy name of the Lord and topics in relation with him are always worth hearing, and therefore he is called here in this verse, Namadeya, or one whose holy name is worth chanting. Thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 16 on Wednesday, hopefully. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Our glories to the assembled devotees, our glories to the worldwide devotees, Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Nrsinghapali Dham Ki Jai. Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Tediya Shaka Mat Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanandi. Hari 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 Bol. Dhanavat Pranam.